Welcome to this edition of the SAU Report. My name is Calvin McGee.
And I'm Marquita Newton.
And our guest today is Connie Wilson. How are you doing, Connie?
I'm doing great.
We'd like to thank you for being here with us.
You're welcome.
She is the director of the Reynolds Center. What is your duties as far as being the director of the Reynolds Center?
Well, primarily, as director of the Reynolds Center, we schedule the facility, and we are happy to say that we have lots of student groups, SAU departments, and community groups, and many conferences and banquets that happen. We also have a part in marketing the Reynolds Center, developing brochures, working with different publications to market the facility, and we just serve as working events to make sure that events run well and run smoothly for people who are booking the Reynolds Center and using the Reynolds Center. We also have an evaluation process so we can see what things we need to improve upon, and so we do some assessment activities as well.
Can you describe those assessment activities and such?
Sure. We have everybody that uses the facility, we have an evaluation that at the conclusion of their event, they let us know what they thought about the facility in general, the catering, down to the table arrangement, the technology, which the building is equipped with state-of-the-art technology, and I'm happy to say we have an excellent approval rating from the evaluations that we have gathered thus far. So.
Okay. Also, you are the Assistant Dean of Students. What does that consist of?
Well, primarily campus activities geared toward SAU students. We have Spring Fling, Mule Rider Roundup. Most recently, the Student Activities Board booked a concert. We haven't had a concert in many years. We brought Dirk Bentley with Randy Rogers Band opening for them, and so we do activities primarily for students on campus, and we also work with student organization and student organization development. If there's a student who wants to have a new organization on campus, we work with them in the steps and the process in which to get that organization established on campus. And we also help maintain the development of other organizations. We have leadership retreats and different activities in which we keep organization leaders involved and informed of things that are going on campus.
With the Mule Rider Roundup and Preview Day and all that, what is the process of getting that together? Like, is there any committees or anything that would get it together?
We do. We work with students, and again, we base changes that we implement based on evaluations from the year prior, things that students thought worked really well and things that they thought needed to be improved upon, and we start planning very early. We'll start booking things probably beginning next month for Mule Rider Roundup, and this year we did do we did have a lot of changes. We brought a lot of entertainment to keep students entertained and busy. We brought movies and comedians and did a lot of things to help incoming freshmen feel like this was that this is a really exciting place to be, and as well as conveying information about campus activities and educating them about college life in general. We also have a session in which we allow them to visit with the deans of the different colleges here at SAU so they can get some basic information about the college in which they're interested in becoming a part of as a student here.
Now, you being the director of the Reynolds Center, that's a very huge responsibility. Are there any other committees that help you along with your decisions as far as things that are planned for the Reynolds Center?
Sure. We have the Student Activities Board, which consists of students, and they do help make decisions about the activities that we bring. They help pick the comedians, and they'll go to a conference next month in which they will get to preview some of the different acts and bands and entertainment options, and they will choose from those. And we also have a wonderful activities staff. Tammy Sims and Tracy Denny and Jennifer White work really hard as a team to help facilitate, implement, and assess those programs.
Okay, exactly. What are the different departments that are in the Reynolds Center? Like student activities and
we have
station.
Well, and I think that's the beauty of the Reynolds Center is that there's so many offices and departments that are so convenient for students. We have the University Health Services, and they're right there located in the Reynolds Center. The Office of Counseling and Testing and Disability Support Services, Employment Resource is located there, obviously student activities, housing, the post office and dining services are located there, and the bookstore, which became a lot more, well, it just became a lot better when it got over in the Reynolds Center with the options and new items that they supplied. So I think it's just really a great way to have all those departments serve students in a convenient manner.
Is there anything that's in the Reynolds now that wasn't in the Bruce Center when we had it?
We do have several things. I think University Health Services, Employment Resource is over there now. Now, obviously, the cafeteria was in the Bruce Center, so that's still over there. When we had the post office was over there too. I think, from my recollection, that would be the two offices that have moved over and joined, I guess, the Campus Activity Center.
Okay.
Not only does the Reynolds Center help people out at SAU, it also is a big impact on Magnolia and the surrounding community. Could you talk about a little bit about how y'all help out?
You know, I'm really happy to say that the Reynolds Center is such a wonderful opportunity for economic development for Columbia County and surrounding areas. We have conferences booked way in advance. We have banquets booked 4 and 5 years in advance. There's a lot of usage of the building, and we invite conferences from all over to come to the Reynolds Center and see what we have. And I can assure you that one of my favorite things to do is to show potential users the Reynolds Center. They are so impressed, and our technology is really up to date, and it's just a convenient, state-of-the-art facility that we've just had a lot of success being able to market. And I think that the users of the Reynolds Center have had a lot of success with their events. So I think it's definitely impacted economic growth in the area, and I think it will continue to.
Okay. Where do you see the Reynolds, like maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Do you see like maybe they're trying to be make maybe additions to the Reynolds Center or anything like that?
Well, I think, I don't know as far as additions to the Reynolds Center, but I think that one of our priorities is to definitely keep it maintained and to keep that state-of-the-art technology edge and to make sure that the facility looks nice. We have guidelines and policies that we require SAU patrons, student groups, community groups to adhere to in order for the building to stay as nice as possible. And I think that if we do maintain it and keep it, keep people who use the facility satisfied, I think that's going to be really the key to maintaining the facility over a period of time.
Since you're the assistant dean of students, since we'll jump to that topic, who is over you and like what are their responsibilities?
I report as the assistant dean of students. I report to the dean of students.
Okay. And his name would be?
Jay Corson.
Jay Corson.
Okay. By being the director of the Reynolds, do you find time for yourself by being so busy? Do you ever get a chance to just have time for yourself?
I do. I can honestly say that I'm really fortunate and blessed that I have a job that I really enjoy. And there are times that we're up there after hours. I mean, that's just part of the job. But I do find time for myself. And a lot of things that happen at the Reynolds Center are family-oriented, you know. So there are times when my husband can bring my daughter up there and be a part of it. Like most recently, we had a real community family-oriented event. We had the art dedication this week, and it was extremely successful. So there's a lot of things that happen at the Reynolds Center and happen on campus that are family-oriented. But I do find time for my family, and I think I work hard to have a good balance.
Okay. What are most of the family-oriented things that go on in the Reynolds?
In the Reynolds Center? Well, again, we do basically, with student activities, focus a lot of things toward SAU students, but coming up we'll have a Fall Fest and Chili Cook-Off, which will actually be in the plaza of the Reynolds Center, unless it rains. Of course, it'll be in the Grand Hall, so that's a nice festive event that I think a lot of people attend, and So, and then there's many things I think that the Reynolds Center is open to and inviting to students and community as well.
Okay, I have another question about family. I hear that the nurses station is going to start maybe having it to where students on campus could bring their children to see the nurse. Like it would be put into the like the tuition to be able to pay for it. You know how you have a fee to pay to see the nurse? Do you think that would happen, or is that something that might happen in the future?
I really don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. I was just wondering because I heard something about it. It's like I thought it would be a good idea if they did do that, to be able to bring your child or somebody to see the nurse instead of going to the doctor. If it's not anything real big or anything.
So what are some of the other future events that's coming up in the future of the Reynolds?
Well, again, we have, and like I said, we just had the art dedication. We had a huge event in there, and we had the Miss SAU pageant last night, and the interviews and dinner for the judges was in the Reynolds Center. So those are some of the most recent events. Upcoming, we do have the Fall Fest and Chili Cook-Off, and then we'll have the Celebration of Lights, which will happen in December. And one other thing I would like to mention that I neglected to mention earlier, a really wonderful aspect of the Reynolds Center is that we do have community agencies housed in there as well. And it gives students a really convenient opportunity to participate in nonprofit groups, and it's really added a wonderful dimension to the Reynolds Center to have different community groups housed in there. We have Magnolia Arts, we have Magnolia Housing Resource Board. That's just a couple of the ones that we do have in there. So it's been a neat aspect of it. So.
How do you use the Reynolds Center as a recruiting tool for bringing in freshmen?
Well, we certainly encourage tours through the Reynolds Center. I think one of my favorite rooms in the Reynolds Center, I think it's just because I have an activities background, is the Foundation Hall. I think that it is so fantastic that you can walk into a room, it's theater style, a nice big screen, state-of-the-art technology. I think it's really comfortable for our students, and obviously the Student Activities Board does bring movies free of charge to our students, paid for with student activity fees, and I love to highlight that room if I am doing a tour. But I think that when you have a facility such as this that when we really invite students and serve students, I think that it's going to be a good recruiting tool for the university.
So you would encourage people to visit the Reynolds Center first?
I do, and most recently, Sarah Jennings and her staff planned Preview Day, where they had high school students on campus, and they had several events in the Reynolds Center, so I thought that was a really good idea.
Okay. What are some upcoming events for the Reynolds Center?
Upcoming events? Well, we have the Fall Fest and Chili Cook-Off, then we have the Christmas event. Celebration of Lights, which will have the dinner in the Grand Hall. And those are a couple of the upcoming big events. And then obviously a lot of businesses in town are planning Christmas banquets. So that's going to be really nice.
Okay. Does the Reynolds Center get involved with charity or food drives for Thanksgiving and Christmas
Well, I know that
as a whole?
student groups have had blood drives in the Reynolds Center, and I know that Aramark works with some student groups in coordinating some food drives, so I think that it does serve as a central location for events such as those.
Okay.
Do any local churches or any churches in the area come in the Reynolds Center and have their events in the Reynolds?
I think that, I have to look back, but I think that we have had different conferences and events where an outside church has booked the Reynolds Center, reserved it for different events and conferences. There have been those things happen in the past.
Okay. What about student jobs? Do you think the Reynolds Center opened up some more jobs for students that live on campus, that want to work on campus?
Well, I think potentially. I know that we have lots of desk workers. We keep the building open many more hours and staffed at the information desk. So I think that gives students I think it provides and creates more jobs for students on campus, and just because of the sheer hours that we keep it open, and it's really important to us to keep the information desk staffed so that people who are using the building can have information, and someone who just happens to be walking through can ask the information desk worker, hey, where is the Magnolia room, or where is the A&M room? They can direct them to those facilities. So I think in some ways it really has created some more jobs and job opportunities for students.
Okay, I know the village has its own little community. Does the Reynolds contribute anything, besides, because usually when I go to the housing to talk about the University Village, they would tell me to go to University Village and talk about it. Is there any connection between the Reynolds and the village?
There is. The village, and I'm not as versed on it as I should be, but I know that the village is coordinated through housing, and that if you need general information about the village,
You have to go to
you
the
can
village.
you can get some of that information from housing, but they refer you. They have a manager, a director
Okay.
of the village, and they can probably give you some more specific information and show you some of the apartments. So.
You talked about also in the beginning that you help market the Reynolds Center, which is, putting its name out there so other people can see it and be able to use it accordingly. What are some of the ways that you market the Reynolds Center?
Well, currently, when I got the job, I guess in August of last year, 2004, we had a lot of work to do because it was a brand new building, and we had a lot of so much excitement generated with the building that we wanted to make sure that people knew about it and knew what we had to offer. So it began with creating a brochure and working with a communication center who does a fabulous job, very creative in their designs that they come up with for brochures. So we have been working on a brochure. We also created the website, which is very user-friendly, has the catering guide, has pictures of the rooms, has capacities of each room in different setups. We do subscribe to some publications which actually are distributed all over the country. And we're also members of ACUI, which is the Association of College Unions International, in which we can stay current in the field of what's going on in college unions all over, internationally. So those are just some of the primary things that we've begun to do to market the facility.
Do you have any new ideas that haven't been done in the Reynolds Center that you would like to see in the Reynolds Center?
Well, I think there's always room for improvement, and I think there's always ways to do things better. I would like to get out more in the community when we get our brochures, and we would probably do some mail outs, speak at some of the Rotary clubs in the El Dorado, Camden, Magnolia area. I think that we can always enhance, adding to different publications. Currently, we subscribe to Unique Venues, which has a wonderful write-up and advertisement for the Reynolds Center. But I think there's always things that you can do to enhance your marketing potential. I think we've only just begun, and I think we have a lot of work to do, but again, it's very exciting. It's fun to sell the building. It's fun to show the building because it's such just a gem in our community, I believe.
You talked on also the technology that's in the building. Could you talk about some of the technology that's state of the art?
Well, we have the Grand Hall, which is equipped with in-focus projectors in the ceiling. We have a podium in which you can show. We have Cox cable run through so you can watch TV in some of the rooms. You can have laptops. You can show DVDs. You can play CDs. It's all built in. It's not a big setup. You just walk in the room. You turn on the podium and you're ready to go, and it's such a fabulous thing to have, and the screens are built into the ceiling. We have technology equipped in the Foundation Hall, Grand Hall, the Magnolia room upstairs, and the A&M room. Technology is built in there, and a beautiful meeting room is the President's Conference Room. We have a plasma screen TV, teleconferencing capabilities. I think that it just makes everything so convenient and easy to run. Even I can run it, so I don't know if that tells you anything. Because if I can run it, it's pretty easy to run. So,
Okay. Would you say the cafeteria is a lot better than it was in the Bruce Center?
I love the cafeteria food. I eat in there. I've eaten in there 4 times this week, and I think the food is fantastic. And I know that the catering staff, and it's very important to have good catering because when people use the building, they use Aramark too. So I think that I'm very impressed with the dining services, and I think that the food is really good.
Do you like the environment? It seems more comfortable than it was before.
It does. It
More
seems a
home.
lot brighter than the Bruce Center, and of course we have the mule shoe in the middle. There's a lot of school tradition built in there. So I do. I think the food's good, and I think the facility's good too.
What are some of the businesses that are trying to get a hold of the Reynolds Center and trying to use the Reynolds Center as maybe their marketing tool, or trying to host things in the Reynolds Center?
Well, we've had a lot of different businesses in the community, and what I think is really interesting is the conferences that we have of organizations that aren't necessarily based in our community. We have conferences coming up of different professional organizations that I think it's fantastic that they hear about us and use us and come and visit the facility and just are sold. So I think it's just a wide variety of groups.
Do you think the Reynolds Center will make SAU a more friendlier place to come visit, not just for recruiting, but just for families just to buy, like, ooh, look at that building, I'd like to go see that or see what that's all about?
I just think the dynamics of the building, just the way that it's set up with, I think we have obviously friendly staff at SAU to serve people, but with the community groups and that aspect of it, I think that it definitely enhances the campus. I think that it will for years to come if we maintain it properly, which is definitely in the plan.
Okay. What about parking as far as, the school is getting, the population of the school is getting larger, parking's becoming a problem. As big as the parking lot is across from the Reynolds Center, do you think we need more space for people to park?
Well, I think, and this is just strictly my opinion, right now our parking lot currently handles the traffic and the conferences and the types of events very well. We recently had Steve Ford on campus, Gerald Ford's son, that did a fantastic job brought by the SAU Foundation, and yes, the parking lot gets full. I think that we do a good job of occupying it. Not to say that we wouldn't need to add to it in the future, and I think that those assessments will be made along the way to see if things need to be expanded and made larger.
Now, I know you have to love the new stoplights, traffic lights. That's wonderful. I really like that. Do you think that helps with traffic problems and people getting across the street?
I definitely do. I think it makes it a lot safer, but I still encourage people that just because you push the button to please look and make sure that it's clear and that people are abiding by the traffic. I think it's fantastic. I'm very excited about that. It makes it, again, easier for people to get to the Reynolds Center. We don't want any obstacle there between them and the Reynolds Center. So.
Everybody considers SAU as its own little community in Magnolia, but as you can see, we're talking about the Reynolds as if it was its own individual community also. Do you think that puts pressure on other buildings at SAU to get an upgrade or maybe do things new for their buildings?
Well, Reynolds is the new kid on the block, and it is the newest, and it's beautiful, and I don't know that it necessarily competes with other places. I know that people want to use it because it is something to show off. I don't know that if it makes other, building managers or other places on campus a little envious, but I think that, I think that it's part of the whole campus as a whole and there for everybody to use. So So I hope it doesn't create any problems.
All right, well, we'd like to thank you, Ms. Wilson, for being our guest today. I'm Calvin McGee,
And I'm Marquita Newton.
and we'd like to thank you for watching.